Thank you for joining us for part 4 of the Wetland Management video series. In this series, we've shared information related to landowner roles, understanding plant succession and wetland stages, and how to manage moist soil wetlands. In this video, we will provide details on managing semi-permanent wetlands and address some of the benefits of wetland habitat diversity on your property. Remember, active management is necessary to maintain specific habitats as plant succession is always occurring. For a refresher on wetland habitat succession, please see part 2 of this video series. Semi-permanent wetlands are areas that are seasonally flooded and tend to hold water for extended periods. Semi-permanent wetlands include emergent marsh, shrub scrub, and forested wetlands. These wetlands add habitat diversity and have many benefits. Semi-permanent wetlands contain some seed-producing plants and are a valuable source of aquatic invertebrates and crustaceans, which are important foods for waterfowl, shorebirds, and wading birds, and brood-rearing habitat for many wetland birds, including waterfowl and marsh birds.
So what we're looking at here is all these shells, all these snail shells. There's calcium in these shells. These hen mallards, especially late in the growing season or late in the wintertime, they're actually looking for these shells to get the calcium for their eggs. Growing invertebrates, growing these snails is another big factor. More so than just the grasses, just the seeds and tubers from the grasses and sedges.
On WRE properties with multiple impoundments, maintaining some semi-permanent wetlands can be practiced on one or more impoundments to meet habitat objectives. These wetlands are relatively easy for landowners to maintain, requiring little equipment or expenditures. In most cases, impoundments with screw gates, or those that lack water control structures, were intended to be passively managed as semi-permanent wetlands in the original Wetland Restoration Plan. Emergent Marsh is a semi-permanent wetland that can be developed in shallow water impoundments by leaving water control structures closed year-round. This results in a transition to a perennial plant community of emergent vegetation such as cattails, cutgrass, bulrush, spikerush, and sedges. Generally, the best quality emergent marsh occurs when plant cover reaches 50% and 50% remains in open water. This is called hemimarsh. As natural plant succession occurs, open water will continue to disappear and woody plants will invade.
Again, this impoundment is kind of converting out of that emergent marsh stage into more of a scrub-shrub environment. We have patches of this buttonbush that's starting to come up throughout the impoundment. And so this one will be a good candidate to start considering when is my setback going to happen? When am I going to come in with some kind of mechanical or perhaps chemical disturbance to get control of this woody vegetation that's starting to perpetuate across the impoundment?
Management of emergent marsh should be performed when open water is reduced to 25 or 30% of an impoundment, or woody plant stems grow to 2 inches in diameter. Mowing or roller chopping is a short-term solution to controlling expanding plant cover, while burning or herbicides can also be effective.
What we have here in this unit is emergent marsh, predominantly cattails. As with most wildlife species, we generally don't like 100% of any one habitat type. So as you can see, we've used a cleated roller to lay down the cattails, and the reason we use the cleated roller rather than any other, just a regular roller, is the cleats actually put more points of pressure on the plant, actually break it and push it down into the ground. So you can see we've got a really nice matted area where we have laid over and broke the cattails.
If eliminating emergent marsh is your objective, a herbicide application followed by burning or disking can return an impoundment to bare ground, allowing for subsequent moist soil management. Water levels in emergent marsh can be drawn down in late summer and early fall to provide shallow water foraging areas for migrating shorebirds and teal. Another type of semi-permanent wetland is shrub-scrub. These areas are created by allowing emergent marsh impoundments to become dominated by woody plants. Shrub-scrub habitats consisting of buttonbush and/or willow is highly desirable and will often exist for 20 or more years before succession continues. Be aware that undesirable species can develop and may include Chinese tallow, swamp privet, water locust, green ash, water elm, and Deciduous Holly. Landowners are encouraged to control these species through single-species herbicide application, mechanical control such as mulching or shearing, or increasing water depth to cause stress flooding. Forested wetlands can ultimately develop in seasonally flooded wetlands. However, this is not the intent of constructed impoundments on WRE. Reforestation on WRE is normally done outside of impoundments and may seasonally flood. Management of WRE hardwood plantations will be covered in the Forest Management video series. Bottomland hardwood stands with developed levees and structures to control water are called green tree reservoirs. Since proper management is difficult, green tree reservoirs are rarely found or developed on WREs. In addition to semi-permanent wetlands, deep open water is not as common but may naturally occur on some easements. Deep open water is a more permanent wetland type characterized by holding water greater than 3 feet deep. Common examples include oxbows, breaks, bayous, and sloughs. They can be valuable to waterfowl and water birds for loafing, thermal cover, nesting, brood rearing, and providing unfrozen water during periods of extreme cold. Deep open water wetlands generally do not have structures and therefore require limited or no management. Microtopography may also be present, either independently or within some WRE shallow water impoundments. Microtopography are small, sometimes meandering areas that are often created by soil being excavated to build levees, leaving unique areas that may hold water and function like a semi-permanent wetland. Since microtopography is often dug below grade, it does not drain. However, it can be managed by herbicide to control undesirables or disking when natural drying occurs. The excavated soil from microtopography areas is sometimes used to create mounds that have higher elevations than normal water levels, providing additional loafing and feeding habitat diversity. For more information or assistance with wetland reserve easements, or to obtain compatible use authorizations, contact your local USDA Service Center. Wetland reserve management videos were developed by NRCS and the Tri-State Conservation Partnership.